Sanhedrin Daf Samach Tet Amud Aleph, 4 lines down. Today's daf sponsored by Anonymous in honor of Dr. Ezra Dayan and JS69. The Gemara is continuing in the back and forth that Abba holds that a Katan, a minor, cannot have a child, cannot father a child, rather. We're going to ask the question. Ish, when Pasuk says a man should be with another woman, and at least I know that a man cannot be with that woman. Ben I don't know if a 9-year-old boy in one day, older than 9-year-old, who's able to have children, who's able to have relations, is with her. How do I know that the same thing would apply to him? Ish, any type of man, even a 9-year-old boy. So we see from here that a 9-year-old boy is able to have a child. Where it says, my little Bible would answer you, Yesh lo ve'en lo molit. He has the ability to have relations, but he cannot be fruitful. He cannot have a child through it. It's like a seed that had by grain did not grow to the third of the size. It's ineligible to grow if you plant that. Didn't grow enough. So the 9-year-old boy is able to have relations, but he can't impregnate a woman. The Yazid ish. Pasuk says if a man shall be Yazid another man, which means hit. Ish mezid umazriya. So now we're playing that word. The word mazid can also refer to cooking. So a man can cook, meaning he can cause his zerat, his sperm to be able to impregnate. Not a minor can't do that. That's proof according to Rabba. Gemara says, where we know that the word mezid can refer to a cooking. We already see that before. The pasuk says, "V'yazid Yaakov nazid." Yaakov cooked a stew and then gave it to Esav. Okay, but Ben v'lo'av. Question answered about Rabbi said that you can't have a child, katana can't have a child, a minor can't have a child, but the pasuk says a son, a boy can become a ben Surah, but not a father. What's the case? If there were a case where the woman conceived from that boy, he already had 2 pubic hairs, but make him like Zakif Katan, and she gave birth 9 months later before the boy's pubic beard grew around, which would make him pasul. Must be happened before. But Rabban's Meika Shu Kolai, can there be such a thing that a boy can become his ben Surah over that long? But this rabbi said, the entire time period that a boy can become a ben Surah More is only over 3 months. So he cannot wait 9 months. Gemara says, it must be she conceived from him at least 6 months prior, which is before he had 2 pubic hairs. For Alid Mekamed lives then, and she gave birth before his pubic beard grew, which means therefore we see that minor can impregnate and have a child. Gemara says, not a proof, not a proof against Rabba. Really, she conceived before he had 2 years. And she gave birth after the pubic beard. Question that it only lasts 3 months. I can re-explain the Braita to teach you a boy who is a son can become a ben Surah, but not a boy who's able to be called a father, which means he has to be during that 3-month time period. And therefore, it's not a question against Rabbi Kuspadai. It all fits into that time period. Gufa, we said earlier, Amar Rabbi Kuspadai, Amar Rabbi we said earlier that the entire time period is only 3 months. Valentine Armstrong said, the boy can become Ben Surah while he has 2 pubic hairs until he fully has a pubic hair completely. That's more than 3 months. The Gemara says, no. It teaches you that if the boy's pubic hair grew fully, even if 3 months have not passed, that is pasul. He no longer can't become a ben Surah More anymore. If he had the 3 months that passed, after he had the 2 hairs, he can't become Ben Samrata even if he did not have full pubic hair down there. Okay. We learned a few things from this halakha. First of all, a woman can give birth in just 7 months. When a woman gives birth in 7 months, her pregnancy is not noticeable when a third of the time has passed, 2.5 months. Because generally, a woman who gives birth over 9 months usually not recognizable that she's pregnant after 3 months. So maybe a woman who gives birth after 7 months, maybe that time period of recognizability of the pregnancy should happen earlier. Kamash Lan does not. If you want to say that pregnancy is noticeable a third of the month, a third of the time has passed, why would you need 3 months for this boy to be called father? 2 and a third months would be enough. So we see that because they hold a 7 month pregnancy is not noticeable. Maybe you might say that the nikah, maybe say a 7 month pregnancy you can notice after a third has passed, which is 2 and 1/3. But the reason why we don't don't call out a boy a father is because zil patar we go after the majority, and majority is after 9 months, and therefore we wait 3 months. Amar Kmed Ravuna Bered Rabbi Yeshua. Amar he said, when we go after Rov, we say we go after majority. If we go after majority for capital cases, Hatzuram Rav Shavtu Aida Vesilo Eda. We say the Pasuk talks about so many times where we try to benefit the accused and make sure we don't kill him for no reason. And we go after Rov, we go after majority to kill him. The Gemara says yes. We say, we don't have to go over. But no, Mishnah said earlier. One guy said it happened the second day of the month. The second guy said, second witness said it happened on the third day of the month. It didn't come in, it works. It must be that one guy knows, one guy doesn't know. If you don't go according to Rav, you don't go according to majority, then you should say, oh, one guy says 2, one guy says third of the day, third of the month. It shouldn't work. They contradict each other. Must be Allah Mishum Tabnin and Zil really go with the majority, but some people make a mistake in the month, and therefore we see we go after off. We have another proof that we go after off. A girl who's 3 years old at least can get married through bi'ah, through relations, which is asur, but if it's done, if it's done, it works. If her husband had died already, and the brother-in-law marries her, he acquires his wife. And if someone's with her after that, then the chayav mitah is married for being with a married woman. But of course, we're not saying we don't advocate for this chas v'shalom. This is talking about in cases that it happens. We have to know halachot in cases that it happens, but obviously, and there's a lot of halachot that we do not do this, obviously. When the girl is young and she's able to become nida, she can make people tameh. The tameh mishkav matam special halachot of tumah. Nisad the kohen achad b'tumah. If she's married to a kohen, she can have tumah. Ba'al le'acham tlein different. If she's a kohen's daughter and another person who's pasul marries her, like a halal or a mamzer, Islam and Quran, she can't marry a kohen anymore, and she can't have tumah from her father. And if any of the other arayot, people who can't marry her sibling, for example, is with her, they put to death because she's a minor. Now we see from here that if someone marries her or is with her, even when she's engaged, then they die. They're punished. Why would you say that she died? Maybe you say that she could become an ilonit. We have a halacha is that if a girl is an ilonit, which means a woman's an ilonit, a woman who by minan cannot have children. So if a man marries her and then finds out that she's an ilonit, that she's unable to have children, we say the marriage is falling apart. He doesn't have to even give her a get because he didn't marry her with that in mind. So we say over here, why do we say that we kill a guy who has adultery with this girl? There's no way to tell if she's an alonit yet. Maybe she will become an alonit, and therefore we can't kill him yet. Must be allowed must be going off, and therefore the Rov is not alonit. We don't have to assume she's alonit, and that's how we kill it. The Gemara says, "No, that's not a proof. That's not a good proof." My chayav when I'm trying to say he's chayav, what do we say is chayav? Korban, chayav, korban. But if you did it on purpose, accident, on purpose, not chayav. Death. Mishnah says specifically, you kill him. The says no. That's if a blood relative, someone's chayav, regardless, not just a marriage problem, but even a close relative. But if another guy is with her, it doesn't count because we don't assume marriage. Says any person who's arayot, which means even a person who's considered married. We see that she's considered married. The Gemara says, okay, you have to explain it. Must be to my case when she got married as a 3-year-old, the guy accepted her as a wife, even if she's an alonit. And therefore, we can't say that she might become an alonit because it doesn't make a difference. He's still considered married, and therefore, someone's with her, they die. Okay, to number 9. If someone is abusing her son that's a minor, and he touches her intimately, even if it's not fully, says that she's pasuf min kuna. She's kasher. مربخ يا بريد ربا رحمة ربا بعمل ربا حتى لما رزق إلها كم ودين بنت شاشني يوم خاش بتبيع باش ما بيتها both agree that the boy is 9 years old then it's considered full bia and she make a puzzle بحط من بين شمونا إيش إن بيتها بيا an under 8-year-old definitely does not count but حنقول إلا بين شمونا only question is who the boy is 8 years old but not 9 especially من Mr. Ravi Mishman who says جمرين من درات الشونين we learn from the early generations that people were able to have children when 8 years old, and therefore an 8-year-old boy is considered significant relations, and therefore make a pasul. Beit Hillel says no. We don't learn from early generations. Early generations had a special ability to have children earlier, and not now anymore, and therefore we can say she's kasher. How do we know earlier that the early generations they can have children at 8 years old? Crazy stuff right now. Pesutos bat Sheva. Uktiv Eliam ben Ahitofel Hagiloni. Now we're going to mention a ton of Bisukim. I'm going to summarize it at the end. Deep breath. Uktiv Vaishlach Biatanatana Vivekrat Shemovita Avur Hashem. Uktiv Hishlish time Yam Behu Gazim Lav Shalom. Uktiv Avshalom Berach Beilach Keshud Vihisham Shloshanim. Uktiv Yesh Avshalom Berushlam Shnatam Yamim. Upnei Melech Ra'a. Uktiv ויהי מכתב רעים שנה וימי אבשלום המלך על דאכה ועל שלם מן דריגה שנתת להשם בחברון וכתיב ואחיתוב וראה כי לא נעשתה לעשתו ויחבוש את חמורו ויקום וילך אל ביתו ואל עירו ויצא אליו ביתו ויחנק. Okay, so all that talks about is certain things that were happening back and forth. Achitophel was rebelling against Melech. He ended up killing himself because he realized he was going to get caught. So now let's talk about Uktiv. We said earlier, people who were bloodshed should not live half their days. Doeg lived for 34 years. And Achitophel was 33. So, how many years did Achitophel live? We said 33. Dal Sheva Dhava Shlomo, right? 7 years was Shlomo was his great grandson. So 7 years minus that, Pashulahu Esrim Vashit, he must be at least 26-year-old when he was a grandson. 2 years for 3 pregnancies, different generations, and 24 years remain. Must be that his generations, his son Ahitophel, his grandson Eliam, and his great granddaughter Bathsheba, each had children at 8 years old. We might, right? Who's 8? Maybe 2 of them. 2 children had when they were 9. And Bathsheba had 6. The great granddaughter had 6 instead of 8 like the others. The others were 9, and then there's 8. Where it says because a girl can have children earlier. The says no. And Teda, we actually accept as a proof. Teda, we know that a woman can have children earlier. Because Bathsheba, before she gave birth to Shlomo HaMelech, had a child before that died. That was the child that was impregnated by David Melech. And Hashem didn't like that union, and the baby ended up dying. So we see that she's able to have children earlier. So maybe not a proof that they were 8 years old, but they were 9 and she was 6. Okay, let's make a different proofs. Right, so the order of children listed seemingly is Terach. Sorry, is Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. So let's say that Abraham was 1 year older than Nahor, Nahor was older than Haran by 1 year. Abraham, if you see Abraham was 2 years old than Haran, Otiv, and they both got married. Now, Amar Yishak, Yiska Zusara. Abraham married Yiska, which is Sarah. Why was she called Yiska? She saw Ruach Kodesh because she had Ruach Kodesh, able to see Ruach Kodesh. But I know the Tiv, Ko actually to marry the Chassaras Shema, but that's why Pasuk tells Abraham, Hashem told Abraham, listen to whatever Sarah tells you because she has the power. Yiska Shakol Saviv Sakim Biafia. She was a different explanation why she was called Yiska, because everybody used to gaze at her because she was beautiful. So now that we know that she was the daughter of Haran, he laughed that she was 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old when they were giving birth. How old was Abraham and Sarah? 10 years. He seemingly is older than Haran, at least 2 years older. It must be that Haran gave birth to Sarah when 8 years old. So we see 8 years old able to have children. Kumar says, you assume that Abraham was older than Haran, 2 years older because he was first and Haran was listed third? No. Maybe Abraham was the youngest of the brothers. The Pasuk mentioned the brothers in order of their wisdom, how smart they were, how powerful they were. And that's why Abraham was listed first. Not because he was oldest, he was youngest. We know the pasuk does this because the Tiva Yivi Noach ben Hamish Me'od Shanad Be'od Noach et Shem et Ham Yafet. Shem Gedol Ham Shana. Seemingly Shem was older than Ham. The Ham Gedol Yafet Shanan Ham was older than Yafet is based in the order. And it says Shem Gadol Miyafet Shtesh name. Seemingly Shem would be older than Yafet by 2 years, but the problem is not that. V'chtiv Noch ben Shesh Me'od Shana v'Ham Abuhi Amayim Al Aretz. V'chtiv Ela Tadot Shem Me'ad Shana V'Lot Achpachshad V'Shnatayim V'Achar Mabur. Shem had a child after 2 years. Ben Me'ad Shana. Now, if Shem was the oldest, he should have been 100 years old after the flood. But Me'av V'Tatan Shnavi should have been 102. El Derech Matan Kahashi must be that it must have been in order of their wisdom, and that's why Shem was the first. So too, Hachanami regarding Abraham as well. Derech Matan Kahashi, Abraham was the first because he was the wisest, not because he was the oldest. Malakana. I can prove it elsewhere that Shem is not the oldest. So Shem Yulad Gam Hu Aviv Kol Bnei Iber Ahyefet Hagadol. Yefet Hagadol Shebe'echav Ahava. Pasuk clearly says that Yafet was the oldest brother. Okay. Another proof that an 8-year-old boy can have child. Eliminanan Mehacha. El ben Uri ben Hur Lamate Yehuda. Uktiv. Batamot Azuvav Yikach Lo Kaleb Et Ifrat Batalad Lo Et Hur. Right? Hur was Betzalel's grandfather. So third generation after Caleb. How old Betzalel when he built the Mishkan? He was 13 years old. It says, Shana Rishina Asa Moshe Mishkan, the first year Moshe did the Mishkan. Shnayim Hakim Mishkan V'shlach Meraglim, second year he built the Mishkan and he sent the Meraglim to scout. V'chtiv ben Arba'im Shana Anuchi V'shlach Moshe Eled Hashem. And it was Caleb was 40 years old when Moshe sent him. Now he's 85 years old. So now what? Pasuk said that Caleb was how old when he was a spy? 40. Dal Betzalel. Is at least subtract 14 years that Betzalel was that age at least. Pashlu Esrit Veshit, he was 26 years old. And Dal Terta Shnei now because it's his great grandson, to manage at least 2 pregnancies, which is 24. Ishtikach the whole chad v'echad b'tnei must be that each one from Betzalel to his grandson, to his son, to his grandson, to his great grandson, each one were 8 years old when they had a child. Final proof, and we accept it. Crazy concept. How old? You could trivia question. Caleb was 20 years old when he became a great grandpa. Holy moly. Ben Labat. And okay, next part. Our Mishnah said that the son has to be a son, not a daughter, to be a ben Surah Moreh. Tanabet says, Amar Bishmon, Bedin Shuteh Bat really, technically, there should be no reason that a girl cannot be executed just like a boy for being a ben Surah Moreh. Because even more so, because if a girl, as we're going to see, the ben Surah Moreh is involved in wine. If she's involved in sin, people will sin with her in different ways as well. There's arayot. Ben Labat, but however we go according to Pasuk. Pasuk says only a boy can become and not a girl. Okay, when is a boy hayav for this? For being a ben samorem, meshuachal tartmei basar when he eats a tartmei meat, a certain amount. V'yishtah hatzi log yain and dagi, and he also drinks a half a log of Italian wine. Rabbi Yosef says, maneh basar v'log yain, a maneh of meat and a full log of wine. Achal b'char ben mitzvah, he ate this meat and wine while it was a meal involving a mitzvah. Ahabit b'chodesh, he ate it at the party of making the extra month of the year. Ex ahal ma'aser sheni b'Yerushalayim, he ate it at Ma'aser Yerushalayim, like the mitzvah is supposed to be. Achal nevel terfot shekasim arasim, he ate it, these bugs or isur creatures. Achal davar shu mitzvah v'davar shu avera, if he ate something that's part of mitzvah or part of an avera. Achal kol ma'achal v'lo chabazar, if he ate any type of food but not meat. Shata kol mashkev v'shtanan, if you drink any drink but not wine, we'll see what that includes. Einu na'aseh ben surah moreh, he does not become ben surah moreh ad sheyochel basar v'yishteyani, unless he eats meat and drinks wine specifically. Shenemar Pasuk says zolel v'soveh, he is a zolel v'soveh, meaning he eats and drinks. Afa pisha iner de'al davar zechel davar, even though there's no proof to the matter, there's a hint to that. Zolel v'soveh refers to meat and wine. Shenemar Pasuk says al tehid b'soveh yayim v'zolel basar lamo.